Welcome to Imbali Live. My name is Helen Herimbi. If you don't know, Imbali started out as a podcast that was basically me trying to give people in the music industry their flowers while they can still smell them and allow them to tell us their stories. So most of us can say that we love musicians, right? But some of us don't know the people behind those musicians who make it possible for you to even love those musicians. So my guest today, or our guest rather, is a super manager, a marketing maestro, and a brutally honest OG. Please give it up for Thabiso hip-hop scholar Khati. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Welcome, 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 Thabiso. Thabiso doesn't like to use microphones, you know. So I'm kind of forcing him out of his comfort zone today. But you know a lot about being out of your comfort zone, so this should be easy.
I know, right? Let's just give it a shot. Sorry, just microphones make me feel restricted. And I just like talk and talk. But you know, let's get into it. Let's just see.
Awesome. So you grew up in Meadowlands, right?
Born and raised.
Born
and raised.
So if you had to look back at your life, what kind of kid would you say you were?
I was so shy that they actually dubbed me stupid. Like literally, when I was at primary school, because I was too shy to speak and I was nervous all the time. And they said I was like literally dumb, right? And then there was this one teacher, Mrs. Parker, who sort of just realized that I was just shy to speak. Then for Sabi, so I'm old school, so we throw it back to the 80s.
What's Sabi, Gonji?
So that's grade 2. I come from Sub A, Sub B, so you know that's grade 2. So I did grade 1, I barely passed, and then she said, listen, I would like to get this kid into my class. You know, and she had a way with children. And that year, I came out 1 in my class. And since then, it was always that confidence that I got from there. So these other teachers wouldn't have, you know, they didn't want to bother. She bothered. And then it was clear in the school that I was actually not stupid. I was just shy. So just to answer your question,
okay.
I was very shy and introverted.
That's so dope that a teacher felt like, actually, I can see something different from this kid, so let me work with him.
I'm always grateful to Mrs. Parker, like always, because if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would have been able to even go through the schooling system, because the teachers then were quite brutal. You know, you were, if you didn't answer, you were getting a slap, you were getting beat. You know what I mean? And those things only make a kid want to go inwards more.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah. So then we go to 1983, right?
Yeah.
And you go to Lily Bioscope.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Lily Bioscope?
Anyone from Meadowlands, anyone from Soweto? There's no fire in the building. That's important. Hola? Yeah. So Lily Bioscope is a local cinema. At the time, there's a few in Soweto, but obviously I'm from Maryland, so that was our local one. The most popular one in Soweto was AA2 in Mfolo, owned by the former mayor Soweto, Ephraim Shabalala, Mshengo, who Mshengoville was named after. Anyway, long story, I go to Lily Bioscope. That's where we watch all the Kung Fu movies, the Bruce Lee movies, the early Jackie Chan joints. But then, this one time, I see this one movie, right? And it's called Beach Street. Changes my life completely, because that's what introduced me to hip-hop. Technically, what introduced me to or what made me curious about hip-hop, though, wasn't Beach Street. It was New Edition's Candy Girl, because there was this part, you know, my girl, my candy girl. So that stuff, I did not know what the hell I realized that these guys are not singing and they're not talking. And I was like trying to decipher this thing like you know,
what is that?
What is this? Like, what kind of talking is this? So I was curious about that type of talking. I couldn't do it because I didn't realize it's rapping. But then, and I went to see Beach Street, you know, because breakdance was becoming a thing in the hood, well, everywhere around the world. So Soweto was catching up. And I watched this thing, and the breakdancing is what got me. It wasn't the rapping that got me, it was the breakdancing, but then the music they were breakdancing to was this music, you know, that is now the biggest genre in the world, the thing that makes us tick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've always said, even till this day, you can bust the move, right?
Shit.
Are we gonna get it today?
So I'm just gonna pop and lock for a second, right? We're just gonna pop and lock, because she doesn't believe I can do this, right? So let's go. Let's go.
Hey now.
That's where we come from. We come from breakdance. I was a pop and lock, I was a b-boy. We didn't know it was called b-boy. I was in Meadowlands. We were doing what we were doing, but yeah, that's eventually dancing to that music. You know, you keep hearing this talking again.
Yeah.
You know, then you get curious. There was a song called Reckless. I mean, I know I'm giving you guys a lot of old school shit.
Some of the people here are also old school. They know
which
these
is
things.
dope. You know what I mean? I find that the newer, you know, people don't really go back, and it's important so that you understand that you will not misconstrue this thing of ours. You know, I find that a lot of guys that just came into hip hop from the 90s, not to digress, I'll go back to the story, because they don't understand that hip hop was literally a party music. So they tend to like front on a lot of party joints. Now, if it's not conscious, people want to judge it. I mean, the Godfathers, man, the Bambata, and all of those guys, they were making party records. And you know, I mean, I listened to Planet Rock. There was like an electro song, but now if you do electro, like the so-called heads, you know what I mean? I have no respect for heads, because heads are very limited.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you gotta love this thing beyond just one aspect of it, because it's creativity. When you look at Planet Rock, like I said, it was they took Kraftwerk's song, and Bambatan it's show me one person in the entire world that's going to say that's not a staple. You know, that's one of the songs that helped us get here. So that's what I'm saying. When you look back and you go back, and it's important, and I know guys are still, you know, some are in varsity, some are in their 20s, whatever, younger, but go back. You know what I mean? When you go back, you appreciate it better, this thing of ours, you know? And anyway, so yeah, where was I again?
Reckless.
Reckless. So this record by a guy called The Glove, he's a DJ, because back in the day, the DJ was the central point of hip hop. He features this guy called Ice-T. And there's a song called Reckless. It comes out of a movie called Breaking. Had that joint, and that was it. And after that, I knew for a fact that this is the only thing I want to listen to. This is now 84.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing. And since then, I mean, I dabble a bit in hip-hop taught me other genres, funny enough. So I listen to everything now, but I'm through and through like hip-hop. There's a guy, and I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen B Street or not. If you haven't, please try check it out, right? I mean, just Wild Star, B Street, all those early hip-hop movies. On B Street, there's a guy called Charlie. So Charlie is a manager. He manages this guy called KK. I mean, KK's rhymes were written by Melly Mel, you know, Grandmaster Melly Mel, but I mean, he's an acting guy. But Charlie, at that age, is the guy that actually made me, because I thought, this guy, he's just makes magic happen.
Yeah.
This guy, just like he's a young guy coming up, but he's got this vision for this crew. I mean, this is like a whole, there's a graffiti guy, Remo, who passes away on the movie.
Why are you spoiling it for people? Maybe now they're gonna go watch.
But I mean, you know, I would assume these guys would know their history. Like, you know, I don't know. But I mean, anyway, so anyways, long story short, I look at Charlie and I get fascinated. This is like 10 years old, 11 years old, and he's like a manager. Like, I don't even know what it is, but I want to do what Charlie does.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm here because of Charlie.
Yeah, so Beat Street meant a lot in your life.
Yeah, I mean, that movie was everything. The break dancing, the Charlie seeing it, it was just...
Yeah. So, at a time when you're thinking you want to do this thing that Charlie does, right? You kind of test it out on your friends, like in high school. If you don't know, he went from being sub B, #1 student, right? To like scholarships.
I don't know. So I go. In fact, one of my homies from my boarding school is here. Thank you for showing up, Sims. You know, love is love all the time. You know, so anyway, I get the scholarship to go to this prestigious school in Swaziland called Waterford Kamhlaba. That's where I met Sims. But I mean, before then, I mean, I just want to go back into the story because now this is the 80s. So where to? I mean, it's rough. It's different. It's during the height of the riots. You know, it's during the height of the riots. And a lot of things are happening. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of, you know, and I think a lot of those things, and I say this so that when we sort of get ahead of the story, because, you know, like in just generally in the game, I've kind of been known as this guy that's like an asshole, that's hard, that is this. But, you know, I was shaped different. I was shaped in a Soweto where, you know, I don't think that by the time anybody is like 12, 13 should have seen as many dead bodies that I had seen, you know, and that's because it was a violent time. We were being shot left, right, center, you know what I mean? And so those things kind of made me angry. I was inward, I was an introvert, so I didn't speak out. So I think later on in years, you know what I mean, that sort of anger sort of came and it surfaced and then, you know what I mean? And so, but we're dealing with it now. We doing what we have to adjust to the real world. But I mean, I say that to say, you know, in that time, it was shaping me. There were no opportunities. So I go first to a boarding school, a Catholic boarding school in just outside Bloemfontein, because my parents were like, yo. Oh, so what used to happen before why they sent us to boarding school is that my comrades, you know, the guys were, at night, they would come and they would wake everybody up. Like, you know, this is time of war, like literally, you know, like every night people are being shot. So once you know, like you're a boy and I was slightly tallish, and so they came and, you know, 1 o'clock, they come outside your house, there's a group of people saying, you gotta come out.
Yeah.
Or else
you have to join the struggle.
You have to join the struggle. Like there's no, man, they came once or twice, we came back safe, my sister and I. My mother was like, nope, next year we're shipping you out to boarding school. I'm not gonna have my children, like just die, because kids were dying. Like they were shooting us at 9, 10, 11. 3 of us could not be on a street corner because 3 or more was regarded as a group and you are plotting. So 2, you could chill. 3 and above, you have to disperse.
Yeah.
And how they dispersed you was through a rubber bullet. they were not, I mean, I still got a rubber bullet scar on it burned my upper lip. My upper lip is slightly pinkish. I got hit with a rubber bullet when I was 10, and it burned my lip. And then, you know, it is what it is. We you know, so, and I go to boarding school, a Catholic school. Then I go through it, and then I was pretty young, you know, like I went from being dumb to matriculating at 15, and then I have to go to varsity. Vets accepts me. Then they think my scholarship said, nope, we are not sending this kid to Vets University. He'll be 16, he'll be too young. I was emotionally mature, you can imagine. So my pops, who, I mean, you know, he came back, but there was a period in my life when he was not there. You know what I mean? And when he came back, we didn't have a solid relationship, which we had to work on. Literally, we only got it right in the 2000s, just like about 4 years before he passed. I'm still grateful that we were able to do that, though. Yeah. But at a time when that is not happening, you are shy, you know what I mean? You are unsure of yourself, you are emotionally, and you don't know it then, because we have no shrinks, we have no psychologists, therapists that can help us. So you are temperamental, you are angry. Yeah, you're not going to. What we're gonna do? There's a grade school. We're going to prep you. We're gonna send you. You know, you're gonna do a course called International Baccalaureate. It's in Swaziland. There's a school. There's a lot of young people that, you know. And I go to the school. Like I literally go to the school. It changes everything. Changes my life. Completely changes. You're this guy from Soweto. You have to think you're unsure of yourself. So whenever you spoke in English, right, you gotta structure the sentence in your head first, and then you say it. And then it always comes out wrong. Always.
Yeah.
But then you get to this school where it's a bunch of rich kids, it's a bunch of people that come from different parts of the world. Some are scholarship kids. Some are like, their fathers run countries in the continent. This is the most prestigious school on the continent, still is.
Yeah.
Get there, the most humble bunch of people ever. They're welcoming. The school has this thing called the UWC spirit, which is like you don't get it when you're there, but you get it later, where it teaches you just everything you want to do in life is doable, basically.
Yeah.
And it like gives me this whole confidence to think that this is me coming from Meadowlands, meeting all these people, and then these are people of children of so and so, or they come from this and this. You know what I mean? Just being there that time was just like, wow. Right.
But it also gives you confidence to take your rapping friends.
Yes.
And start sending out their demos.
Yeah, so back in Meadowlands, I was making beats off a Casio keyboard, wada. So we're making beats, we're doing this, so you're going to school, you're checking these guys out now, they're slightly more advanced, they've been exposed to more rap music than we have been in the hood, but so yeah, and holidays, we're doing rap music, we're sending demos around. My first demo I sent out was in 1991. That's the first, and that was like me trying to manage. That time I'm like, 16, maybe 15, whatever, 16 maybe, having, just hustling demos.
Yeah, and then you come back to South Africa, right? Yeah. And you start frequenting a matinee club.
Yeah.
That's how it
Yeah, so there's a spot here called Q's. Q's is in town towards the Randfontein, right? Q's is a hip-hop joint. So a friend of mine introduces me to it. I just came back to SA. This is now 93. I'm at Wits University. So on Saturdays, right about this time, it's popping at the club, like at Q's.
Yeah.
Because then Q's later becomes the club. We move from Q's the club, and then we go to 154 Market Street, and it becomes the club.
Yeah.
Well, there's always the club, but it was a gay club. It was a gay club at night, and during the day it would be. It was on Saturday from 1 to 6 p.m. That was like the greatest. But also in that story, that I think in the SA hip hop story or Joburg hip hop story, we miss a lot of things that. Oskido was very instrumental in actually getting us into Q's because he was from Zim and he knew hip hop and he loved it. So, so Oskido was very instrumental even in getting us to know the club guys and the this and this. Blaze, DJ Blaze, legendary DJ Blaze. I don't know if anybody has heard of DJ Blaze.
Yeah.
But he was running. He was a DJ there, and that was he was like promoting. That was like every Saturday. That was the thing. So we'd go there, but then an incident happened. Someone got shot, and then we moved to Le Club, and that's where then I never frequented Q's as much, but Le Club, it was like from inception, it was every week.
Yeah. Can you remember the day that you met Amunishn?
Yeah, man. So I had these friends from Waterford that he would frequent, the US, and they'll bring out mixtapes. And so these are like original, the first mixtapes, before the mixtape is defined the way it's defined. This was still DJs, DJ Clue, DJ Envy. They were literally, so this is where you got the freshest new songs. So then I figured, shit, look, we got a market, right? We got a market. There's a bunch of guys that gather together. There's 500 of them. They don't know where to get all these songs. Let's sell them the mixtapes. Then went outside the club, set up shop, started hustling mixtapes, introduced mixtapes to SA. There was, before me, no one had ever sold a mixtape in SA. I was the first guy to ever sell a mixtape in SA. And then the home girl, I remember one time, there's Sims, remember Shyness and them. So they had Tommy Hilfiger, gear. And then he had, Martin, his younger brother, had gotten me a Tommy Hill golf shirt. Or rugby shirt at the time. So I was busy selling tapes, man, and this one guy comes, he just, obviously Grand Pooba, the rap guys are rocking hill figure in the rap. There's one guy outside the club. He's like, yo, fuck the tapes. I just want the hill figure. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm coming. Went to Jet. Got like a 10 Rand t-shirt. Rocked it. Came back like, yo, this is the only hill figure I got. You have 400 Rands on you? Yes, I bought that shit for 150. Yeah.
So you took the shirt off your back,
yeah,
and wore a 10 Rand shirt,
yeah, and then,
so that you could sell this.
And then and made 250. How nice is that?
And this person that you were selling it to,
he was happy. He saw it. He wanted. He didn't care. It was hill figure. Where else are you gonna get a hill figure in 1994? You're not gonna get a hill figure anywhere. You know what I mean? So that's hill figure. So there's hill figure. So you got that. From there, we selling tapes. It was crazy. Decided that, okay, cool. We are making so much money off the tapes. We went to Dion. We bought a dubbing thing, a little thing. And we bought mad tapes and mad batteries. We are out there fast forwarding, dubbing what people are. That's how much that tapes were selling every week. I was just making, because everyone wanted the latest Raekwon joint, the latest Wu-Tang, KRS, whatever. You're not gonna find them at Musica. You're not gonna, and these are mixed well by, you feel like.
So you were bootlegging?
Yeah, I mean, we were on the streets doing what we do. This is hip hop.
All right, so how do you meet Amu?
I'm selling tapes and there's a guy on stage, he's rapping. He's freestyling. And I'm like, okay. His name was already buzzing. So I was like, but before I meet Amu, actually, I say to who's now one of my best friends in the game, DJ Bionic at Bradley Williams. So he's a DJ at the time. He went by the name DJ Hype. I tap him. I'm like, yo, call that guy. Bradley was also a madman at the time. He had a temper. So him and I get in. Our first conversation with Bradley was a fucking fight.
Really?
Like not physical, but an argument. Because I just said.
What were you arguing about?
Because I just tapped him. I'm like, because I'm asking him to call Amu.
So you don't know DJ Hype and you're telling him, tell that guy to come here?
I've seen Bradley around. We're in the club, but I'm like, yo, man, just call a homie,
Okay.
Then it's like, fuck is you. I'm like, fuck is you. Like, then it gets, But anyway, eventually, I went to the stage, talked to Amu. Because, the guys were like, I think Bradley was kind of pissed off because we were selling tapes outside, and then he was a DJ. He had never thought of making mixtapes. So he was kind of mad that we had this hustle, and then we are outside the club. Now you can't get on the hustle because it's everyone's going to know, and we got international DJs. Anyway, met Amu rapping, told him, listen, man, I'm a manager. I want to manage you. And then, and that's how we started.
Yeah, that's dope.
And no one was a manager at the time, so he had no other choice. No one is trying to manage him except for me. I know nothing about management, but I'm like, okay, here's a guy. We're going to put him out. We're going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, and for an introvert, that's a very confident thing to do in a social setting, right?
Here's the thing, man. So I had this crush, and Sims, don't laugh too hard. I had this crush at school on a girl called Gugu. One time I go to Gugu, trying to speak, like I build up the confidence to talk to Gugu. Fuck. We outside the dining room, it's just like, and I start, she comes and I'm trying to tell her I like her. Like my body shaking, my lips is moving. No fucking words are coming out. 0 words coming out. Eventually she looks at me, she's like, but Thabiso, what the hell is going on? Like, I just want to pee myself. Like after that I was like, yo, I'm going to deal with this shyness thing, this introverted. And I made it a decision that day that I will control it. So whenever I see a lot of people in any given day, they do drain me, but when I get home, that's when I'm like, but outside, when I'm out and I realize that I don't want to lose stuff, because till today, Gugu never knew that I liked her because I never told her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I realized that I didn't get the girl, but I tried to make it a teachable moment for myself.
Yeah, and that's then, even better than getting the girl.
And from there on, I struggle a lot when I walk into any room. Like people don't notice because people think I'm flamboyant then that's just me. If I don't put that out ASAP, I will struggle.
Okay.
Yeah, so I gotta put it up out front. But if I walk in a room and I'm quiet, and I get then chance that I'm gonna be quiet for that entire engagement. So if I don't own the conversation early, so I've taught myself to try and get myself into,
That's smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Show of hands, how many of us here know the Motherlode? Okay, so only the older people. I think the South African Hip Hop Awards attempted to honor the Motherlode.
They did it wrong, though.
A few years ago. But maybe this is a good time to tell people what it was and what your involvement in it
So
was.
the Motherlode was the very first thing we ever released as Joburg. I keep saying Joburg and not SA because there was Cape Town. Cape Town already had POC, Black Noise, and all those guys. So I don't want to take away from those guys. They had their own thing going. So we had the club, and then there were all these dope rappers: Snezzy D, Spectator, Lord Zesta from Metamorphosis, whatever, Ramesh, all those guys, and we had no platform. So, and there was a studio in Greenside called Cube. So what then we did is, there's a guy that owned the Cube, Derek Latechan. We spoke to him, gave us studio time, we want to do this thing, and we want to put rappers on CD, and then because that, and Eco, Specs, and myself, and Lord Zesta for Metamorphosis, we put it together, we put this thing, we got the artists, and eventually there was an album called Motherlode, which was the first ever compilation, hip-hop compilation in the country, probably in the continent as well, like all hip-hop. We were too young, they never gave us our credit, they took it, we don't give a fuck right now because we've done better things, but they did that, but I mean, we know, the streets know that I put it together. We got Amu on there, he had a song called Skills, that's what put him on the map. We did, and that was the first, official Joburg City release, Motherlode, with a bunch of dope rappers for that time.
Nice. So was that around the time that you decided you wanted to go work at Sony, or was it before?
The Sony, that's around the same time. So the Sony thing, I'm at Wits, I'm out there, so 93,
also
94.
Studying a degree he doesn't want to study. So.
Yeah, because I wanted to study. I wanted to be like these guys, man. Like these guys, I want to be a filmmaker. You know what I mean? I applied to, so initially, and why I went to Waterford was that my scholarship was going to send me to either the UK or the US, but as fate would have it, South Africa was starting to change, and education was and they were funded by the American Council and the British Council, my scholarship fund. So at the time, both the American and British councils decided that because South Africa is opening, they'd rather school people in South African universities. That's how I end up going to Wits, even though I thought the year before I'd applied and been accepted at Howard, and I'd wanted to go to Howard because there was this young guy called Sean Puffy Combs, the guy that I've always wanted, to emulate until to this fucking day, and I'm not catching up. But this guy, so at the time, he was, he's the guy that made, because he went to Howard, and so I didn't give a fuck too much about the Ivy League-ness. There was just this guy, if he goes there, that's, so I applied to Howard, but then they told me, look, we're gonna fund only South African universities. So I applied to Wits, I get in on a dramatic arts degree, and then 2 weeks before the school opens, my scholarship calls me and says, listen, we know you are in there, but we think dramatic arts will be wasting our money, so we can't fund you, and so unless you change your degree. I'm like, okay, cool, let's go to Wits and find out what's open. So I go there, they tell me something in engineering. I'm like, hell fucking no, I'm not doing that. Something in something else, and then they're like, this BCom open. I'm like, okay. at school, I had taken economics. I was pretty good at it, and I see economics. That's really the reason why I chose BCom, because there was economics in it. So I was like, okay, I was pretty dope at economics. Let me choose BCom. They said, okay, cool. Come in 2 days for an aptitude to see, because you got accepted in a BA degree, but now you switch into a commerce degree. So we want to see if you, and I went, got it. A day later, I got a call saying, yes, you're accepted, come do a BCom. So I started a year, literally on the 10th of January, I was going to do BA Dramatic Arts. Come the 17th of Jan, I'm going to do a BCom that I was never prepared for. But anyway, we did it. So 93, 94, 95, we do that. And now
so this is your last year
this is my,
of your BCom,
yes. And
you hate
I
this
fucking
degree.
hate every single moment of it.
And then Sony calls.
And then a friend of mine tells me that Sony is opening offices. They were initially distributed by Gallo. Gallo was the big distributor at the time. So now they're setting up their own situation, and they might be looking for interns. I'm like, okay. And then homeboy that's telling me there's also knows Lindelani. He says I can actually give you Lindelani Keys' number. He gives me Lindelani Keys' number, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go apply for this internship. I go, well, before I get there, I call his PA, young guy, she doesn't care. She tells me that, in fact, there's a lady called Busi. We later on became friends. She was married. She eventually got married to Christos in life. But I call, she's like, no, you can't speak to Lindelani. I'm like, okay, cool, we're gonna see this. I literally called 13 times back to back until she got annoyed and she said to me, hey, Watina. Like, okay, cool. And she put him through, like, that's it. And then he spoke to me, come see me next week. And then I went. Unfortunately, a guy called Vusi Leo, who also went on to become a music executive, got the internship. Lucky for me, as I'm leaving, right, I see 3 white boys walking down the stairs. I know 2 of them because I used to play basketball with them at Wits. Is a guy called Wadi Tudor Jones and a guy called Brandon. Wadi Tudor Jones, if you guys don't know him, he went on to become Max Normal. If you don't know Max Normal, dress code strictly formal, then maybe you might know Ninja from the Unvote. So that's the guy, he's Ninja from the Unvote. I used to play ball with him. He sees me and Bree, they were in a group called Evergreen, and he says to me, yo, Tabs, what you doing? I'm like, trying to get an internship, and I didn't get it. He's with this guy called George Giorgio, who is my big brother now, my adopted big brother. Taught me every single thing I know about everything. That guy, I still don't understand it. I don't get it. And I'll get into it a bit. So Josh, he gets my energy. I'm vibing with these guys, and he's like, yo, like, what internship? I was like, no, I came to get an internship from Lindelani, and I didn't get it, but, he took someone else and someone I know, so I'm cool for, it's Vusi, I know him as the homie. Vusi's like, okay, I can't give an internship. He's a marketing manager for Columbia Records, which was doing international stuff. He's like, but you can come see me next week, Wednesday, at 10. And I go see him at 10. And then ever since then, I find he had prepped a whole bunch of magazine. He had printed. I still have those articles, by the way. He had gone through Billboard, Newsweek. He had photocopied like the Russell Simmons story. He had photocopied the Andre Harrell story. For me, he gives it to me, says, go read this. And then come back, see me next week, same time. So
every Wednesday,
10 o'clock, I was there. It was always printed articles, go read, quiz me on it. And that's how he taught me the game.
Yeah.
The business stuff in the music publications, because he knew I read the source. But he was like, that's not the business, that's the stories of the artists. You need to go, and he kept giving me those stories. But even with getting the internship, when I went to go see Bra Lindelani, what's crazy is, as luck would have it, that day, taxis decide to go on strike, the first ever taxi strike in SA, right? Because, and then we know taxis, they were already crazy and violent anyway, even then. So we know, so my father's like, shit, I asked him, can you drop me off because there are no taxis? He works at Glomel. He's a driver at Glomel, but he's got a car, so he's going to drop me off before he goes to Glomel, which was in Midrand. At the time, Midrand was called Halfway House. It tells you how old I am. You guys know Midrand. It was called Halfway House. He's going to Halfway House. He's going to drop me. He drops me off. Cool. I'm in a suit because it's an interview. I got formal shoes. And cool. What we didn't figure out was how the hell am I going to get back home? My interview is at 10 with Pradin Delani. And after that, it took like 30 minutes, maybe, chatting to him and and all that. Now we're like, shit. And how am I going to get home? It's at Dunkeld, Bumpers and Jan Smarts, that corner. Now it's the taxi funding thing there. That's where Sony used to be. Okay, cool. It's like past 11. Buses only are going to start running at 4 in the evening. What do? Decide, okay, let me walk back to Meadowlands. We start walking back, 35 kilometers, get back home after 4, been walking for like 5 hours. Luckily, Josh had given me some CDs, this guy that I just met, who was with Wadi and Brendan.
Yeah.
He just, he took an instant liking, gave me 2 CDs. All I'm happy about is that next week, I'm seeing this guy again at 10 o'clock, and I got two free CDs.
And you later went into business with Josh, right?
I went into business. We started an ad agency together, King Size. We had clients like YFM, SABC Top Sport, Mr. Prize, whatnot. It still fucks with me till today that this guy, for some reason, he just never asked for one single thing ever till today. He's never asked for one single thing. He took me under his wing, got me to, so I started the first street marketing thing in SA. So I was the first guy to ever do street marketing. I got a couple of guys at university distributing flyers, putting up posters, doing graffiti. So Tumi from the Volume, aka Stogie T, used to work for me as my graffiti artist. So we would always tag shit up because he was quite a dope graffiti artist. So that was that. So I would do campaigns. So I did, a few campaigns, and I would get, so Josh would pay me. He taught me the work, and then he said, listen, let me give you work so that you can, so he'll pay me to do these campaigns, like 5,000, 10,000. I took that money, and I started my first label with it. That's how we put out Amu's new joints, first joints, with the money I was using to do postering and,
Yeah.
And then, but later on, we started this agency, and then in Norwood, and then we also brought my label into that.
That's so dope.
I know.
And I don't
He's
think
a dope guy. And he, till Brayu's passing, he was Brayu's manager. So this guy is not like he's a Mahohorani. He's still a, you know what I mean? He managed Brayu till he's passing. Josh Giorgio, my hero, my big brother. Love that guy to death.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about you as the record man in a moment.
Yeah.
And I know you and I can talk forever.
I know.
So I'm going to try and make this quick. So do you guys have any questions about anything we just spoke about? I think we have a question back there. Do you need my mic? Okay, do you want to come closer so the camera can get you?
Sure, Fako.
What?
Thank you, Mayat. What I want to know is that what happened to the dream of opening the Soweto Basketball League, Because that was one space that we had, phase 2, when courts were damaged, Middlelands, and the only courts that we had was Orlando, and the beef between Orlando Aces and,
Arsenal, Middlelands Arsenal.
Sure.
Yeah, man, this guy, so I was also kind of nice in basketball, so, so we played, so at that time when Sprite was coming in, Schweppes, it was Schweppes, before Sprite, it was Schweppes that used to sponsor the league. So, my whole thing was always trying to, how then do we act like a club? There were a number of dope people that were on TV because it was the only place where hip-hop could live. So every hip-hop kid that was in Joburg would go there. So there's a guy called Tumi Indaba, and he had a show called Inside Info. So what I went to Tumi, I was like, yo, Tumi, man, look, we need to profile, we need to do something where we're bringing hip-hop and basketball together. So we went to Middlelands. We did this whole thing, right, where we did an event built around hip-hop, battles, and this. And that caught the eye of sponsors because they saw it on TV and that they wanted kind of to be part of the thing before Schweppes even. Now, when they saw that, and I guess they were sitting in their little brand meetings, and they thought, oh, here's an opportunity, you know, and I didn't realize even at the time that once again, we're shifting culture, we're changing the game because we're just trying to live our lives. And we did that, and then all of a sudden, Schweppes was involved in basketball. Some people called me from there, consulted how they do it. And what was weird is that as an intern at Sony, like interning for Josh, really, I bumped into this guy at the courts at Wits, and then they were starting to do some things like activations of sorts, and they wanted a record label. And I knew someone at Sony, so I said to them, no, actually I can hook you up with Sony. And then I connected them with Sony, and they got their very first deal with anybody, right? These guys. So, and I didn't know, and we went our separate ways, life is life. One day, it's Easter, and this story is crazy because it's Easter. Amu and I, come on, you know, you can't really live off rappers. No one is booking rappers. I mean, they're paying us in shades, like literally a promoter gave us sunglasses. Like, fuck, you can't eat that's how they were paying us. They didn't care to. Anyway, I call Kagiso, because Kagiso owned the Renshow at the time. And I called the office, I'm like, yo, because the Renshow used to do these Metro FM gigs, and the last day when they closed, I called him. I didn't know who ran those things. And I called this guy, and then they say, no, you got to call to this company. We just run the property, but events, I go speak to so-and-so. Take the call, phone that guy. As I'm selling my story, right, this guy is quiet, and I'm thinking, I'm nervous. I'm like, yeah, I manage this guy. This motherfucker starts laughing at me. He's like, Thabiso. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so what's Rami? He's like, dude, now that the activation company is big, he's like, you gave us our very first gig. You connected, and now we're here. If it wasn't because of that, shit, is this what you're doing now? Like, every single thing we're gonna be doing, you got your guy on. And that's how Amu got a year full of bookings. Is because one day I was at a court, a guy knew that I connected him, and then it worked out for him, and I was looking for something. Coincidentally, I happened to call the same guy, and he gave me not just Easter, everything that the brands they work. So Amu was like, became one of the most booked artists at the time by sheer, not because of his music, by sheer accident.
Yeah.
Because I decided to be nice to some guy. So that was the thing.
I think that deserves a round of applause, right? Like, preparation and luck and all of that. But what I find interesting is that you moved from being an independent record label owner to, and as somebody who's seen South African hip hop go from underground and these kids to becoming mainstream, you then decide there's no way Squatter Camp is going to sign to Gallo, and I'm not a part of that.
Yeah, that's crazy, because what then happens is, after that whole Manchester tape cut and join, now Gallo gives Squatter Camp a deal. When they give Squatter Camp a deal, they do a press conference at the John Com House, right, in Rosebank. And I'm with a homie of mine at the time called Sbu. Sbu went on to manage Tear Gas initially, and he produced the record Chance. So we're chilling in DK, and he's like, yo, the Squatter Camp press release. I'm like, Squatter Camp press release? I'm like, they signed? You know, news took forever to trickle down at those days, you know. And then like, okay, cool. Let's jump in a car, it's Boo's car. We go to Rosebank to go check out the press conference. And then it's like the most, dopest thing. These guys are performing Manyesa in the middle of a corporate foyer, and they're hip-hop. We like, I see. And then this guy with little nappy hair trying to grow dreads, he's there talking, shortish guy. He's talking about how he fell in love with hip hop when he was in Philadelphia studying there, and his first thing he was exposed to was, I think, Tribe Called Quest, or and then he speaks, and his name is Sipostole, and when he gets off, and I go to him, and I'm like, so you guys are doing hip hop, huh? You need me if you really want to make Squatter Camp work out. I just went up and told him that, and he's like, who the fuck is this kid, whatever. And then luckily next to him, there was a journalist called Bongani Madondo. Bongani co-signs my story because Bongani years earlier went with the ad agency, because our ad agency, this is 1999, 98, 99, by 2001, we had lost a few big clients and we could not keep the doors open, so we had to close up, had to go back to the hood, which was cool. I always say to people, I've always been able to take risks and fall, because the one thing I know that's gonna happen, the worst that can happen, to people going back to the hood is probably the worst, right? But for me, I'm like, shit, think about it. Even if I get to go back to Mirrorlands, because and they love me out there because I'm their son. I don't see, so you know what I mean? It's not, to me, it doesn't matter. If I start up shit and I fail, so I had to go back to the hood, back into the cabs, blah, 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 blah. Cool. So now we get here, and we now broke as shit, doing, the days of Sony giving me stuff to do, long past me, the agency. We went from going to see boxing fights, because Rodney Berman, one South Africa's biggest boxing promoter at the time, I think he still is, Golden Gloves, his son was in our business as well, so he would get us all the front row things. We went from going to, in limos and shit, chilling with models at the office all day, to going back to the hood, and it's cool. We're gonna do it again, right?
And so Sipos Tole gets convinced.
So why, I'm sorry, once again, I told you guys I'm long-winded, and she knows me well, so she has to reel me in. Anyway, so Bongani Madondo, during those days, we had done, once again, pushing culture. We took Kwaito to the UK. We were the first guys as an ad agency. We were representing YFM, went to YFM. We said, YFM, there's an opportunity here to do some dope shit. Let's take, and then Sprite came on board, and we took hip hop to thing, right? Sorry, Kwaito to the UK at a very popular club there at the time, but because Sprite was a hip hop brand and not a Kwaito brand, but we couldn't take hip hop because hip hop wasn't popping red. But what we did, we then tied in Rap Activity Jam at the time, and then we had a UK South Africa battle over the air. I mean, sometimes, as I sit here and I talk about shit like this, I can't believe how much dope shit we've done over the years, but that's...
If you say so yourself.
Well, shit is dope,
say so yourself.
But so we went on when we did this, UK versus Kwaito there. Bongani Madondo is a journalist we took to the UK to go cover this thing. That's how, so I know this guy. This is like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Then he vouches for me, and I hadn't seen this guy since then. Then he's like, yo, really, if you want, really, this guy knows his rap shit. Then a few weeks pass. One day I'm chilling at home on my bed, 11 o'clock at night, get a call, don't know this number. It's Sipostolo on the other side. He's like, okay, they say you are who you say you are. And I'm like, okay. He's like, come see me so we can talk about, I gotta obviously go through the official channel interviews and shit like, so I'd never worked formally in my life. Everything before then, I'd worked for myself or hustled. Going off the bat of what the streets were saying, I become the head of promotions and media at Gallo. And we, once again, like the shit we did there, I mean, we brought street culture in there, we brought hip, because now Squatter Camp is signed. I remember going to, they were now Joburg, right? But Umoya drops. It's a big, no one knows it's big outside Joburg because none of us had ever been outside Joburg with hip hop.
That's crazy.
None of us, we've been there to visit, whatever, however you try, but none of us had ever been, you know what I mean? The only guy that had been outside Joburg for anything was Amu when I managed him to Cape Town.
Yeah.
Right? And Cape Town doesn't count because it is hip hop already. So we're okay, we're planning this tour. So I don't have a ride at a time, right? So I just joined these guys, right? So what we do is we get on a train, overnight train. I do this route. I figure this route out. We're gonna go to Bloemfontein, get to Blom, don't know fucking nobody, right? And then I start, and I used to do a lot of things like this. I don't know why.
Okay.
But I used to I didn't know where I was gonna sleep that night, but I was gonna figure it out. I don't know, because it's like, am I gonna stay 1 night, 2 days? So I hopped on a train,
you
got
were
to
a
Bloemfontein.
skizava, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, because it's the hustle. At least it is, for me, it was in the skilava. But anyway, that's cool. I get there. As luck would have it, once again, I swear to God, I don't even get this. There's a legendary, now he's passed away, a guy called Peter Antoine. If you guys know jazz, someone says to me, speak to Bra Peter because he does shit independently. He gives me his number. People were not precious with the cell numbers then. I call him, and he just likes my story. He says, I'll come pick you up. I've never met this guy. He says, I'll come pick you up. Where are you? I'm at the station. He comes, picks me up, takes me to his crib. He's packing CDs. This guy's a hustler. This guy's selling boxes like he was going platinum, distributing on his own. This guy was crazy. He takes me around the city, takes me everywhere, makes me meet everybody. And I still don't know why he did it, right? And then, so he helps me set up the promo for Squatter Camp in Blom. Remember, I didn't know this guy until that day. I called that guy that morning. He came to pick me up. He drove me around. Showed me how to hustle these things independently, because his house was literally stacked with CD boxes. And he was telling me the unit was moving. I'm like, how? He's like, no, just get on the car and I drive. So he was Master P. He didn't even know Master P, but and then anyway, he takes me to this center in Botshabelo. Botshabelo, if anyone that comes from the Free State, is just outside Blom. And then we go set up this promotion. Then I go from there, I catch a taxi, went to Caracara. So we did this route, right? Train, taxi, setting up a Squatter Camp promo campaign. So we get to Botshabelo with Squatter Camp. And a whole bunch of other Gallo artists, Robbie Malenga at the time, R.I.P., Sbuda, the TKZ, Maloya Sbu, and those guys, we get there. So we thinking, why we took those guys, we thought hip-hop needed those guys.
Yeah.
Because we're like, okay, who the hell knows us outside Joburg? We get there, literally there was about 800 to 1,000 people screaming Squatter Camp. We're like, what the fuck just happened? And no one cared about Robbie, no one cared about Sbuda. It was just packed, and that's how I knew that Squatter is about to do. And then that gave me more energy, because now we're taking pictures, we're seeing this thing, we're going, and we're going to Clark after that, we're doing this thing, we come. Anyway, that was my first, and it made me bolder to say, okay, cool, just keep doing. And then, when we were there, we did Pro Kid.
Yeah.
Got him from Skipper Bar, Southgate, selling before DMD, I don't know what was Mantariana type joints before then, but whatever that was, he was selling that.
Yeah.
To becoming, and I'm, in my own humble opinion, the greatest lyricist ever to come out of SA, and the only guy that I see close to him is Tumi. Those are my two favorite lyricists of all time in SA. Pro Kid, fuck. He did,
He was incredible.
We took him to Baseline. I gotta go back to the fucking story. Where's that guy? That guy behind the lady here, that guy. He was Pro Kid's manager. That motherfucker was Pro Kid's manager, right there. And they did some dope shit, these guys. They did merchandise deals. They did, and that's so cool to work with someone from your school. And now he shows up and because we hadn't connected in a minute until we did Pro Kid, and then,
Okay, so we're gonna have to fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
You leave Gallo.
Yeah.
You start another...
Yeah, but we didn't leave before we changed. like we completely made history, right?
Yeah,
we
no, for sure.
we made hip hop albums go platinum. We made our hip hop albums go gold. We used to fill up venues. I mean, that Pro Kid launch, which I wanted to talk about at Baseline, it was so packed to capacity you could not move. But the crazy thing is there were more people outside than there was inside.
That's crazy.
So you understand, this is hip hop. This is what we did. So what I'm saying is and I'm gonna keep just going back because this is about giving me my flowers, right? I want all my flowers because I want all of them because we know. I think throughout this journey, it's sometimes we didn't know how we were gonna, whenever we came up with any idea, we didn't know if it was gonna work, but for some reason it worked. And I know why, because the energy was always right. We didn't give a fuck about working for money.
Yeah.
We gave a fuck about, doing what we thought our hearts wanted. Till today, if I make it a point that if I hear someone is dope by I will call them motherfucker. You know what I mean? I will call him. Some guy is sitting here. I called him from nowhere and I found him on IG because everybody was talking about him. And I was like, yo, I'm so-and-so. I know you don't know me, but yo, dude, I'm hearing dope shit about you. I just want to connect because the young, old, 2 years old, 99 years old, I will connect because for me, dopeness and dope energy always goes. You know what I mean? I don't give two shits about people with money because I think if that's your central focus, that doesn't move me, you know? So, and I think to do dope things, you gotta be able to connect with people with dope ideas, dope mind, and it sharpens yours. And, so yeah.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, you left Gallo.
Yeah.
You started managing Deep Level.
Now, let's go back. Hidden Force before Deep Level. So at Gallo, what then happens is I'm going through it's like I used to work till, I don't know why. Like I used to work till 11 o'clock at night, get there at like 6:30 because remember I told you about Charlie when I was watching B Street, so you can imagine. I'm doing the very thing that I wanted to do when I was 12. For me, like I don't know how many people are doing what they wanted to do when they were 12.
Yeah.
Shit, that alone is a fucking blessing, and I'm not about to take it for granted. So I grind like people that sort of know me, they know I grind around the clock. Wake up every single day at 3:15 till today. The only time I wake up any later is 5:30 on Saturdays and Sunday. Otherwise, and I sleep at 10 and I sleep at 11. So it's always been that because I feel like I'm blessed because I get to do what I wanted to do then, right? So I'm sitting there going through demo tapes as I'm working. Just let me listen to demos. I'm not even A&R. I mean, remember I told you that Gallo was head of marketing and promotions. So I hear these guys. I've heard them on radio. They had a song called Ready. I'm like, oh, and I hear the tape. I'm like, shit. I didn't like radio much because I thought they were like offish. There's something off about it. But I'm hearing the tape. I'm like, this shit is fire. Then I'm like, okay. I presented to the A&R meeting. They say, nah, we have squatter camp. We can't have another group with 5 people. I'm like, okay. So jokingly, I say to Sipostole, okay, can I take them and on my own? And he didn't know. He says yes, because he thought that I'm probably bullshitting. So, okay, so that's all I needed, his permission. I told you, I asked you for permission. He said yes.
So you're doing it now.
And I did it. And I saved up every single cent of my salary. I put in Deep Level. I used to go to Thokoza at night in my Polo to go pick up these guys after work. They didn't have a car. So from Rosebank, Woodlam, used to work at Trans Africa Radio. So as an engineer there, so I'll pick up Woodlam, go to the hood, pick up Gallo, Supremo the Kid, RIP, Bon Poteza, who was a policeman. It was always a challenge because sometimes we're recording, he can't make the sessions because he's on shift.
He's out on a case.
Sometimes he has to come in and ask his partner to come in and record in the uniform. That was a fucking crazy shit. Bon Poteza, I used to leave Gallo like at 6 to go pick up the guys. So luckily, Amu's father had a studio, and we became, even though I was no longer working with Amu, but we're still lifelong friends. So they gave me cheap rates. His father had a studio in the city. So I would go pay there, go to Thokoza, pick up these guys, come, record until 4 a.m. sometimes, go drop them off, and then go to Meadowlands, take a shower, go fucking back to the office. Like, many times I wouldn't have slept, and I would be like zombified, but I was like, it was exciting because I'm doing this thing, and I'm like, I wish you guys could hear this album in my head. And then, yeah, so we put it out independently. And I remember Sims was also, sometimes they will beef with me. Yeah, but you're paying too much attention on this Hidden Force because you're not paying attention because obviously the rap guys knew on the streets.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, nah, you guys got the big company doing this. I'm literally, these guys are not competition. They're being financed by my salary, literally. Like, you think about it, like putting out, and I got parents that I gotta still give money to monthly. So that was it. I had no money. I was always broke when I was at Gallo because it was this damn deep level thing that I was a Hidden Force. Anyway, Hidden Force then breaks up, and then 2 of them are left. They were deep level before they were Hidden Force, because Hidden Force was like a collection of crews, and they decided
I see.
in the Katlehong, Thokoza area, because they realized that there was 4 of them. If they join, then it will be easier instead of, yeah. And DJ Dollar, who put that idea together, and yeah. So anyway, we doing that, and then after Gallo, then that's when I do deep level, because now Hidden Force is broken up. So the 2 guys, Hauser and Lebza, were from Hidden Force. So then we sang a so yeah.
Okay. So as somebody who loves South African hip-hop
Yeah.
as much as you do
Yeah.
up until that point, what then makes you think I'm actually going to leave the country and go work in Europe?
So I do that because I realized that I do have a keen sense of, like, a sixth sense that can spot trends early, can spot things. It's always been that way. We gifted differently, but there's something I sort of know. So I can always see, doesn't matter whether it's from fashion to anything, I've always been able to sort of see things coming, and I saw the digital phase coming. And I got an opportunity to go work for a content company in Amsterdam. Remember that annoying era when there were ringtones on TV all the time? That was me. That was like, the Beyonce ringtones, but it allowed me to understand the digital because we were moving there. So for 2 years, and now, finally, I'm not broke because I'm no longer financing a rap group, 5 guys that I have to pay for out of my promo, out of my salary. Now, I'm earning in euros. I'm saving a shitload of money. 2 years later, I'm like, okay, I can't do this shit anymore. This thing is in you. Like, I've tried leaving the music industry before. It doesn't work. It called me back. I was like, okay, go back. But now, at least, I came back with all these euros that I'm going to, convert into rands. Then I decide, let me continue. And then these guys, okay, I'm back. Can we do this? Street music back again. Sign Deep Level. We put it together. We do an album. Yeah, that's how it happened.
And then at what point do you meet KO?
So I then work with Hansa, SAB Hansa, and they doing a music campaign, wara. So then we devised this fucking great idea to do what we call a search campaign. Now every fucking brand does it. They were not doing it before we did it. Where we wanted to find new artists and put them on stage. We had, Usher, we brought out Usher to Orlando Stadium. So we did that too. But what was cool was that we wanted to give unknown artists completely an opportunity to come and get on stage. So I had to zigzag. Literally, I don't think there's a town in South Africa I have never been. And literally, in that thing, I spent 4 or 5 months finding talent. Like literally, we found the Muffins came out of that.
Oh, dope.
Nonku Piri came out of that. And there's her name is Bitumelo, but she goes by a different...
Melo B. Jones?
Melo B. Jones came out of that. And then there was now the homies on TV, I think he acted as Vusi or something, like he was on Sitengo. He had a group called Mo and the Dark Knights at the time. He came out of that. Master A. Flat came out of that because he was part of that crew, Mo and the Dark Knights. There was like an 11-member crew, a full band. Anyway, so for me, you know what I mean? For so many people to come out of that such talent, it's kind of crazy. In fact, Master A. Flat, for him to work with AKA, he was working with Deep Level first.
Oh.
And then Hauser and Steve, Steve was indigenous, someone was looking for something, like they were just looking literally for a session, a keyboardist. And then AK was recording something, and then that's how Master A-Flat started working with AKA, but it was working with Deep Level first.
That's dope.
So we did the search, and then did the Usher with Hansa and all those other people at Orlando Stadium, got these unknown artists on this stage. Abduz was on part of that as well. He kind of faded away, dope rap out of Durban. Also there was a crew called Niche Fam out of Durban. They came out of that. Masandi.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the first phase, and then we booked Tear Gas for that. To be the judges. Zakes Bantwini, Tear Gas, and someone else, I can't remember who. They became our judges, or with me as well, to judge, to sift through the talent. So I knew KO before because I dated KO's cousin and she was Miss Soweto, so it was always fresh, So it was then, but he wasn't a rapper yet. In fact, he reminded me years later that, but I know you from, okay, I knew my Easy from the club because KO was from Peter Reti, so he was not always there. And Dugza was at the club as well. But anyway, then through the Hansa thing, KO and I got to talk. Because KO was like Tear Gas's manager, right? So sometimes we'll go the other guys will not be there, we'll catch a plane together, we'd go on the Hansa business. And we started talking about like business. And then I would always tell him like, yo, the day you go solo, give me a call. Because I don't manage Tear Gas, and I didn't want to touch Tear Gas because Tear Gas were managed by a friend of mine's, Boo. And then I knew that if I even touched Tear Gas, Boo will hate me for life.
Yeah, it would be beef.
Even though he was not, he's the guy that they speak about, the manager that they say, stole that. And I knew that it was a touchy subject. They don't like him, he doesn't like them. And, so we spoke. Eventually, he decided to go solo. Then he calls me as he's recording mission statement, and he's like, yo, remember that talk? I'm like, yeah. It's like, cool, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, let's meet. We meet. There was Cashtime Entertainment. Really, it was, I always say to you guys, I added the life to the whole thing because Cashtime Entertainment, they had Cashtime Fam, but it was not really a label. The guys was more a crew, and it was named, and then we had a chat, and I went and I drew this whole thing, like this whole plan. And I went, when I saw him with Mataz is my E, we sat, and I was like, guys, this is what we can do. So we decided on a name. Then they wanted to drop Life. I was like, nah, but Life means that we are into everything. It's not entertainment. Life, we are into, so if you want to...
So it's like a lifestyle.
Yeah, but if you wanted to do water, we'll do water. If you wanted, that was the... So we went, and I was like, okay, cool, Cashtime Life.
All right.
But it was fun. Don't cut
ahead.
my story.
I'm not going to cut your story.
We decided to launch Cashtime Life. Once again, we all into sneakers, we all into culture. I decide, fuck it. What's the best way to make an impact? I go to Shesha, and I'm like, yo, we all love Shesha. We come here, we buy shit every Saturday. Right? Can I use your fucking shop to launch my label? And the guy's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, think about it. Media's gonna come, blah, 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 blah. So we do the launch at Shesha Rosebank. So, and it's like, we introduce the team. This is 2013. We introduce the team, we drop mission statement, we drop Skellige, we drop, and from there it was like, and it was important to go to Shesha for me because it was clear that I knew that I'm not building a label. I was building a lifestyle movement, and I wanted to build a lifestyle movement. And I wanted to get where lifestyle people were. And at the time, the only sneaker shop was, the gallery had long been closed in Melville. The only thing that we had was Shesha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went there and we did it there.
You guys, I guess, could have decided, let's just concentrate on KO's solo work, right? You could have decided that. And then you could have decided, let's bring one or two people onto the label.
Yeah.
But you brought a whole gang of people, right?
Yeah.
And I would even dare to say some of those people were at the top of their game, you
Yeah.
know, like Muggs and Kid X and
Yeah.
very creative people.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind putting together a whole bunch of people as opposed to concentrating just on one person?
Man, I came from the 90s, so if you came from the 90s, you know The Rock, you know Rough Rider, you know Bad Boy. That's movements. You know Death Row, you know. So I wanted to do that, you know, for SA. And also I'm a big, probably the biggest TS Records fan of all fucking time. And the one summer when they had Izinyoga and then they performed at the summers where these guys were jumping out of dustbins, that fucking performance made an impact to me. I remember I was sitting right next to DJ Cleo at the summers and I was like, he was hating because these guys, now last year he was running this, now, and I'm busy screaming, jumping up and down, and he's like, sit your ass down. I'm like, fuck that. I thought that was I thought what Boo did, the taking of the guerrilla marketing, when they asked him to announce the winner, and he said, I remember this shit like it was yesterday. This guy was like, the worst thing anybody can do is to give Mzege a microphone on live television. And I think it dawned, and the room realized that shit that was about to hit. And he was so hip-hop with it, he started telling us all his releases. I was like, fuck! You understand what I'm saying? So I'm looking at this, and like, TS, like, they move like that. And yeah, so I wanted to create a hip-hop TS because I had never seen, I'd read about Rockefeller, I'd read about Bad Boy. I had never seen them, but I saw TS. And I wanted to move like that. So Cashtime Life, if you really look at it, now that you know, look at it, you'll see it's TS. Exactly. I literally photoed, and no shame. I really stole the blueprint from, I've told Buddhists. I took TS and it was a hip hop version.
Yeah. So now Boshai Cook.
Dude, we did Gogo, think about it. You know how we cleared Gogo?
How?
We went to Zbu, sat with Zbu at the bars and fourways and played him the song. He's like, yo, Mfana. I was like, he loved it. And we're like cleared with no fucking sign, no nothing. He's never asked us for a cent. He's never asked us for anything. And that's, Zbu and I, we very cool now, like we've always been. But yo, he'd never even asked. He just loved the song. He's like, yo, do it. I love Cashtime Life. You guys, and I told him that's when I told him that this is your blueprint. And then till today, yeah. And that's how it went on.
Yeah. So another interesting thing about Cashtime Life was it wasn't just the label, right?
Yeah.
It kind of ushered in a different sound. And you guys decided to name it a specific...
Yes, kinda.
Yeah.
That was all KO, man. There was 3 of us as partners. My E was the silent one. He wasn't, out of choice. We didn't make him silent, but KO was the creative guy, and I was just the business guy, the guy that came. So KO knew it. Like at the time, he was so, he just got it. You know what I mean? He knew the sound. He knew he could see everything creatively, like from music. And I could see everything from the business. And we were so gelling at the time. It was so easy. Like when he said something, I got it. When I said something, and I told him, like, look, we got to do everything. Everything we did, what's crazy is, and I only show people this, everything we did in 2014, 15, there's a PowerPoint that dates October 2013. Every single thing was planned. We did not go about it thinking that we will seize opportunities. The clothing, they're doing our own parties, refusing to sign into a major. We did all this shit, remember, independently, like completely independently. And yeah, and so that was that. And so we became, till today, the most pirated clothing brand on the continent.
Yeah.
Till today we are.
And a lot of people kind of saw Caracara and it was like, oh, these guys are here now. But you always talk about how radio compilers sat on that song.
Shit, man. That song, we were so hype about it because I heard it. It was so different at the time, I guess, and they didn't hear it. Literally, we went, zigzag. I went to every single radio station before it dropped. So we dropped Caracara on the 3rd of March, 2014. immediately after New Year's, that week, maybe the second week, I went everywhere, like campus radio, community radio, national radio, PE, East London, Nelspruit, Polokwane. I literally went every single way presenting this song, telling them this is, and they all loved it. That's the thing, like they were all like, yo, and then time to play it. Metro played it for like 2 days, then they stopped. And we're sitting there, we're like, fuck. What are we gonna do? Like this song is, we've tested this song. They all loved it, so we are confident. Then we're like, fuck, nah. We're seeing the YouTube thing. We're like, nah, we're gonna hustle it via YouTube. We're gonna go to the video's gotta be impactful. We gotta do this, then there's a little scare dance going on there. Funny enough, Tulu, who's now KO's manager and road manager and DJ, he's the guy that came with that shit. So we're in studio at PH Raw Studio, and then the motherfucker started doing the dance. And then we're like, this is the money shit, because it's just like it looked dope. So we're like, okay, KO was learning it in studio as well. And then we did the video connected. We knew we had to be authentic. We knew that we wanted to bring everything. We took it to the hood, we took it everywhere. We got Nomuzi to come on board on the video. We needed, as you can, like Nomuzi wasn't quite a star, she was on MTV. We were not gonna get the bonangs because we were not yet, remember mission statement, even though these guys came from tear gas, it has been a while. You know, in this industry is fickle as fuck. You know, when your shit is hitting, they all love you. And I guess most of them don't love me because I let them know that, you know, you don't fuck with me when I'm on the come up, I will never fuck with you. That's one of those things, you know. So none of the industry girls were gonna be on the damn video, you know. So Nomuzi, we fucked with her because she got, you know, they always talk. VG was at MTV, so, you know, she worked. So Nomuzi came, did that, and we knew that we wanted to make a. So we knew months before we even told her that we wanted to make a Cashtime Life. We already had a plan of her rapping even before that. Even she knew that she wanted to rap one day because KO had this plan. Anyway, she came on, we took it there. It worked. And the video one day, I remember we put it up and I was going to gym and I came back from gym because, you know, like when you drop, every hour you checking the views. I went to sleep one day and I woke up and in the time I slept, we had accumulated over 22,000 views.
Wow.
And I woke up like, what the fuck? This is a mistake. No. Remember that time, views are not going the way they go now. I'm like, okay. I went to gym. I came back, this is like 2 hours later. There was 10,000 more. I was like, what the fuck? And it went the same day, the next night, the same thing happened. Then I was like, oh shit, we got something.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay. Then we started getting excited because now people are talking about it on Twitter. Then it blows up, and then the compilers only then, so YouTube made the song. Then they started playing it, and then it becomes the most played song of that year. We win Song of the Year, the Summers, with that song. It set up Cashtime. Like without that song, we don't do everything we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because then we got the funds to invest in My Ease joined, the funds to invest in KidX, and that was, yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear Thabiso say he works out for 2 hours? That's a lot.
No, just because I
That's a lot
ran
for the
and
game.
I used
No.
to be an avid runner.
But you know, it's very heartwarming to see you talk about Cashtime because you're literally smiling about it, right?
Yeah.
But then we know that even though you guys are at your peak, at some point, that whole thing starts to fall apart, right? People start leaving, and then eventually you leave.
Yeah.
What happened?
I mean, truth is, you know, sometimes I think we got hung for people. One, the fans, tear gas fans, disliked us because they thought some of them we left Ntugza behind. And I'll break it down to you like this. Ntugza was always invited. I invited Ntugza. He would never show up to any Cashtime Live meetings. He'll always show up to the tear gas because at some time they were overlapping. At some point, after 4 months of doing the same shit, I called it. And I was like, listen, this guy is not. And how I called it is, it was election year 2014. And then we did a ballot paper. And we just like, with all Cashtime Life faces except Ntugza. And I made that call. So it was not KO, it was not my E. Remember, Ntugza and my E are brothers, right? So, because if you're not showing up to anything, why should I assume you're part of this thing? And I call him on the phone, I'm like, homie, I'm not gonna include you in this because you don't seem to wanna be part of this. So we got hung for leaving Ntugza, so that was the beginning of the Cashtime Life demise because people thought, and I used to sit there and think, what bullshit is this? The homie was invited, and then he never corrected it. And then there was the whole narrative that KO was selfish. He dropped Papa Action when my E's album was, dude, like that story is such bullshit. It's everything. KO is probably the most selfless person I know. Like literally at his height, he would give when homeboys needed dough, because he was making a shitload, he'll give people 10,000, not even fucking ask for it back. So when I saw the streets say this on Twitter and none of the Cashtime Life rappers defended, it had my heart. I was like, really? You guys know the true story. Like, you are here. You know what's going on. You know you're not showing up to studio sessions when we're calling for studio sessions, but then you're sitting here and you're like getting fan sympathy. And I started vibrating more towards KO because I was like, look, this is bullshit. You know what I mean? And like, because I just couldn't understand personally how you let someone hang when you know that what they're saying is not true. You know what I mean? And I saw the homie who had a fucking promising career be hated by fans because his team let him down. And that was, friction started from there.
Yeah. So at that point, though, you can still say, we're going to let go of the rest of the rappers and start a new movement, right? But you and KO then also...
No, we didn't start, we didn't let go of any fucking body. People left on their own. Like, the only person we got let go of was Nomuzi. He's the only one that I called a meeting and I said, we can't do business with you because of certain things. And that was the only one, right? Everybody else left on their own.
Okay. Have you heard Nomuzi's album?
Yeah. There's a song, I love it. The only song I love on the album is a song that disses me called Rap Therapy.
Have you guys heard the song?
It samples KRS-One's joint. Yeah, I heard it. And that's my favorite song on the album because sonically it's a dope record, right?
Okay.
And the producers did their thing and, yeah.
So she says they're out of cash and they're out of time.
Yeah.
And all sorts of things that sound like she's talking about you, right?
Well, and the second verse is about me because you know when it's about you, it's about you. You know what I mean? If you're gonna call me an old man, yes, guys, I've never shied away from my age. I'm 45 years old, and that's cool. And I'm still one of the dopest motherfuckers on the continent, and that's cool, right? So it's not like that's not a diss to me. That's not a diss. Like, I'm turning 45 on the 1st of March, so calling me an old man, I don't give a fuck. Like, I paved this thing. You know what I mean? I needed to get to this age for me to have done what I couldn't have done it all and still be 18, right? And so it's not like so for me, that's not even, you know what I mean? We hip hop, we're gonna suit up when we have to suit up. We're gonna fucking put the jeans down our asses if we have to, because you know what I mean? It's always been the culture we rap.
Yeah.
And that for me is like, what, are we not supposed to grow old in hip hop? Like what? Like, you know?
Okay, so I was gonna follow that with, is there a chance for you and Nomuzi to ever work together again?
Dude, I have no malice in my heart. I can work, if it's dope, it's dope. I like culture pushes, and I gravitate to any and everybody, right? I'm gonna speak my mind, you're gonna speak your mind. I have no qualms. If there's a dope collaboration that we can do, cool. You know, old me was different, and you kind of know old me. Old me was reckless. Old me was slapping people around. That's a long gone guy. Like, don't have time for that. There's so much dopeness to do. The continent is open for us. I want to make sure that each and everyone that wants to be in the space, they know that their opportunities are going greater or the doors are getting more open every single day because dudes like me are making sure that it's happening. You know what I mean? The crazy thing is, like, you can't talk to me and say I'm out of cash. That's the last fucking thing ever.
You out of cash, you out of time.
You know what I mean? And I'm definitely not out of time. 45B, that's like, shit. Even if I had, because my day, I do more than a lot of people in the game do in a year.
Yeah.
In one single day, the shit I do, fuck. I'm not even a house guy. I just sold out the dome. I'm not even a house guy.
Hey now.
I put black coffee in the dome and we sold it out. You know what I mean? So for me, it doesn't worry. Like, that's just kiddie talk. That's rap. It's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's supposed to, and I love it. And that's why I'm saying, literally, I love this song. I was playing this song just this week, and I'm like, yo, you know?
Okay, so we're gonna talk about you selling out the dome and all of that in a second. But I like that you mentioned that old guy is long gone, right? That guy would have never stood up here and pop and locked for us,
yeah,
right?
that guy was an idiot. Like, sometimes you gotta realize that your worst enemy is you. And I realized that I was my worst enemy. I could have done so much more dope things because a lot of people didn't want to work with me because I was arrogant, I was a bully, and because I could fight, I thought that, you know, I could fight people, I could beat people, and I look at that and I'm like, I resent that guy. I don't ever want to go back there. I sometimes wonder, had I not done some of those things, where would I be? Like, because I think there's a lot of other people that wouldn't want to, you speak of the name Thabiso. I mean, you guys just run your own Googles on the street, ask about Thabiso. You're going to hear, I already know what you're going to hear. He's an asshole. He's this, but he's dope at what he does. But I always think if they led with he's dope and he's a dope guy, well, how much more we would have gone and made money, made moves. You know what I mean? A lot of things would have. So I sit here and like, yeah, I have not, like, that guy's an idiot.
That's powerful. So do you guys have any questions before we get into selling out the dome and all sorts of other things? You know, sorry, before you ask your question, I think maybe if you want to share it, what was the turning point for you that made you know for, like, did something specific happen for you to know for sure that I no longer want to be this guy?
I mean, if everyone says you're an asshole, like, clearly you are an asshole. Right? I mean, every people that have never met each other, when they have the same reaction to you, clearly there's something. So, I mean, I decided that, and I mean, it's a journey. It's only been a year of actually being on this journey. So I decided I'm gonna get therapy, I'm gonna work through my shit, and I'm working through my shit, and I see it's working, you know what I mean? And I think it's a lot of, you know, like, they speak a lot about, there's a buzzword and buzz phrase about mental health, and I think we take that shit for granted. Like, you know, especially in the black community. Like I said, by the time I was 10, I'd seen so many dead bodies with my own eyes, and that shit fucks you up. You know, I was angry, and we don't realize that's actually mental to get a shit. I mean, my therapist just this year, she just made a few weeks ago, she's like, dude, you were on the brink of depression. Like, when you kids, like, now she can tell me. She's like, dude, like, if you first came here, you were just like, and at the time I thought I would come down. I thought I had come down in my 40s. Trust me, in my 30s, I was fucking wilding out. And I'm happy that at where I am right now, I'm at the peak of my career, and I can help more people because my mindset is completely different. You know what I mean? And there's gonna be a lot of undoing of the shit that we did. Like, but yeah, like I said, in my 30s, I was wild, yo. And the thing is, I was never been a smoker nor a drinker, so I did everything sober. So I remember everything.
Hi, so how are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm good as well. So clearly you've been doing this like before I was even born. So yeah, very young. But I just want to know, like, from a marketing and promotional experience point, like, in terms of the industry, how did you really adapt? You know, like you said, a lot of things changed when the digital age came. So I'm learning from more of a digital, moving from a traditional media point of view. So I want to know, like, what has changed, what really hasn't changed, what remains constant? You know, what keeps you there? Because you've been doing it for a long time. So what's that one thing that it either didn't change or it changed, but it keeps you in the industry for a really long time? So I want to know the longevity of the industry. Yeah.
The only simple is the music. Music does not change. Like, what I mean by that is that whether you're selling cassettes, you're selling LPs, you're selling CDs, you're selling streams, right? At the end of the day, there still has to be an artist, and that motherfucker still needs to perform live. Do whatever you do. Remove those two, everything else doesn't work. And I happen to listen and love a genre that is the most innovative in the world. It's always been. This thing came from 2 turntables and a microphone. And it's, yeah. I was born the same year, well, it was 73, they did it, a year after hip hop was born. You know, from Sedgwick Avenue, it was a year when Herc did the party. I was born in 74, so I'm almost the same age with it. They said this shit was not gonna last for 4 years. I grew up knowing every year when Sugar Hill Gang came out with Rapper's Delight, they gave this shit 2 years. They said this shit was a fad. They gave it 2 years. The biggest genre in the world. It's been that way. 40 years running. We've just grown. It's everybody now has a little rap flow in their little pop songs. We changed the world, and that for me is what has kept the fact that hip hop forces you to be innovative, because hip hop is a young person's music, you know, and young people are innovative, you know, and for it to stay young, it has to be innovative. The genre itself, there's no complacency in hip hop. You know, it's now, and I've been blessed with the ability to adapt. You know, I listen to 6ix9ine, I listen to Tentation, I listen to, you know, A Boogie with a Woody, doesn't matter. Right now in my car, I'm bumping Boogie, you know, Dub last week, you know, and that for me, I find it has been cool in a lot of my peers and guys my age. They left this shit when Nas and Hove were still the gods. I mean, they the gods, but I'm talking about commercially, they were active. So post that, guys my age can't listen to Drake. So I mean, you know what I mean? Now imagine if they can't listen to Drake, how can they listen to 6ix9ine or, you know, these guys? So I've always known that hip hop will always adapt, and it's changed, and then expecting it to stay in one sound is what will, and then I apply that to every other genre, because of sampling in hip hop, for example, I used to follow the sample, and the sample would lead me to the original, and then I fell in love with rock. I fell in love with jazz. I fell in love with everything because the samples is what led me there. Now I'm a big rock head. I'm also a big jazz head. So my two music of choice is hip hop and ragamuffin, I guess, dancehall, and that's because it's always rhythmic. You know what I mean? And yeah, so it's the same. So those are my two. But everything else I listen to because of hip hop, and that's that innovation that it keeps bringing.
It's more of a comment than a question.
Yeah.
I want to commend you for all your achievements. It's very phenomenal to like be in a place where you are and get through life and be an entrepreneur and all those things. Caracara, I think I was still in the office at Mnet, I think four years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember when they brought the actual copy of the actual video.
Yeah.
And we said we had to break this as soon as possible.
I said that.
Yes. You said that because you wanted to go against MTV. I think MTV was doing something with AK at the time.
You see, that's the thing. You gotta, and I keep telling people all the time, like, I will speak my fucking mind and I'll share. And people have said I'm pushy, and that stuff hasn't changed about me because I get it and I'll be in your face. I'm like, you gotta do this shit.
You pushed the envelope, and I wanna commend you because I was on the other side looking in at what you were doing. So it kind of ruffled some feathers. So I commend you, and it's like great work.
Thank you. I mean, I'm just remembering a story on Caracara that, so Miller decides they're going to take a caravel and then they're going to do a campaign with it and they're going to call it Caracara. That campaign, you have to understand, that thing was Carabas. You know, it was just trees, and I knew that if the song was not there, they would have never done that. And then they do this shit without our involvement. Get on the call someone at Miller. I'm like, fucking like lost my mind. I call them fucking culture vultures and everything. Like, you guys, fuck. And then, as things, you know, you gotta speak your piece. And then guess what? They decide that they wanna collaborate with us. Then we do this party in Durban called Fresh Year's Eve. We gave for 2 years, we gave Tira a run for his money because they came and used Cashtime Life and then we threw this New Year's Eve party. Tira had the house guys, we had the hip hop, we had the city on lock. So anyway, what I say that to say, once again, you know, you're not gonna take my shit and just take it and not involve me. Because if we don't drop Caracara, you're not having this little Carabas and you're running your campaign. You know you stole my shit. I mean, right now, I know that someone else, Castle Light, that just stole my shit with the Gogo shit because they got a campaign running on Gogo, and I know that that's based on my shit, but unfortunately now we're no longer there. But if it was then, I would have been at SAB right now saying, yo, why are you stealing my shit? Get me paid, don't take my thing. I look at the music video and I look at the concept, I'm like, Ageku Gogo, really? But it's cool. But that's what happens sometimes when you keep bringing new shit, people are gonna take sometimes.
Can talking now like music,
All right.
Like I like the fact is that you have to hold it, right? So I like collecting records.
Okay.
So music yako is like go hip hop ya your printer running go maybe go the vinyls or so forth. Like I wanna go hearing force like and I haven't heard them on vinyl yet.
So, I mean, vinyl is an interesting format because it's such a collector's format, but I mean, dude, like it's so expensive to make vinyl. You're looking at a piece between 500 and 750 depending one piece. So then you gotta be, if I'm making it at 500, right? These days, because all the guys are specialists. Back then we used to print in Zimbabwe because we close our vinyl thing here. I think by the time the 90s came around, the plant that had been closing. So we had to go to Zim, right, to go print, and that plant is closed as well. Now it's such a specialist thing because vinyls are like now really a rich people's game or a real collector's game. 10 tables, have you seen how much 10 tables cost these days? And they're like, so to do it and print it and put it here where you know that you're not even gonna sell 100 units, but you'd have cost you so much money to make. You know, we will get to a point where that market grows, and I know that it's already in the more affluent markets, like the certain genres, they're already doing it, certain hip hop, like I mean, it's there, like the more classic, you know, so but we're not yet that there because it will cost me a shitload of money to do it. But in time, hopefully we can. But nice thing about me is that I own every single fucking master of everything I've ever done. So, you know, that's because, and that's why we always wanted to be independent.
Yeah.
Because no, I'm not gonna put my cultural currency and my street currency and my actual money behind a product just so that one day someone can, you know, so that's why we never really, you know, we never really see. We know that one day, I still know that one day Caracara is gonna make me one check at 10 million. It hasn't made it yet. We've walked away from $1 million because we thought the price was wrong. And that's the thing about me, I walk away a lot if the price is wrong.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about some of the things you've been doing recently, right? And before we get into Huge's question, so far, everything you've told us has meant that you are behind the scenes, right? Even if you are setting people in their place and people know you, predominantly you've been behind the scenes. And then last year, you decided you wanted to be on camera and you created a show called On a Daily. Why did you want to do that?
Because, you know, I blame El Tito for that shit, man. Like, so I used to manage Tito. So when he had We Rolling, I was the guy behind Tito. And he's like a little brother to me. Like Tato and I, we like very close. So he's like, every time he's like, Thabiso, man, why don't you tell your story? why don't you tell your story? Why don't you give advice? Like, Tito, then every time I speak to him and we have very long conversations about hip hop, a lot of times it will usually is when a new song comes out and then we decipher it, or an album, you know, then it always goes back to why don't you? Then that's how, and I mean on a daily, that's not even a lie. That's like Coco initially came with the idea, the producer of the show, and it was loosely based on everyday struggle, really. But it was a chance for me to do, even though podcasting is new here, but we thought it was a chance to just like kind of break down the industry and start bringing that mindset here. So we knew that we're not gonna do it we wanted to open, you know, other people to be able to do it, and if Cosmo, Sebi, and I get together, some kid that's actually really dope at that shit could see it and say, yo, let's do something like this. But it was also to just like give in-depth analysis of the game and study it on a day-to-day, and that's how On the Daily came about.
Okay, cool. And then after that, you went on to become the director of Live, right? So that's the live eventing division of Universal Music.
Yeah.
And then you sold out the Dome.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Let's just get into it, guys. Finally, man, we have one of our own in the building. I'm a director at Universal Music Group Africa. To have hip-hop in baggy jeans to say there's a fucking director is different. You know what I mean? This is, you know, like we did this authentically because we did it because we love this shit, and they kept seeing the innovation, and then, you know, they said, okay, cool, we want to set up a live eventing company. Do you want to come in? And for me, I like challenge. Like, I actually wanted to be out of the record side. The recording business, I really got to a point, was done with it. And it's very ironic because we'll explain just now. But then live eventing, I was like, yes, we finally can. Because my vision is, imagine now giving African talent stages and you putting actual money behind African talent and you actually promoting it, because big concert has decided that they want to go international only, and they'd rather bring tired ass Lauryn Hill than build a stage and give it. Yo, I mean, I'm not even being funny. I'm just saying, at some point, I love Lauryn, but at some point, imagine if you took those and you gave it to South African talent. You know what I mean? And when for You Love was like, imagine I want to do shows with Davido. I want to do shows with you know, Wizkid, Black Coffee, Lady Zaman. I want to do shows with Champagne 69. I want to do shows with Jay Molly. You know what I mean? That for me is, you know, it's better because it's our shit. You know, from the continent, I can go and get Sauti Soul from Kenya, bring them out here, and that's why I took it. I was like, fuck. It's never been done by Universal. I'm creating a new thing. So the first one, my first meeting actually, the guy is here. That's kind of crazy. I randomly called, you know, Fry Pan. I'm like, yo, I'm doing this thing. You guys got this thing happening at Con Hill. Can I be a partner in it? Because I just wanted to do shit with cool people. You know what I mean? I was like, you know, I still think we're gonna do some dope shit, him and I, at some point in life. You know what I mean? So we did that. And then we did Nasty C Zone 6, and I removed the entire stage because I felt like he needed, and we did some dope, we did Strings
and Bling.
Strings and Bling.
Yes.
Sorry, I always forget if there's two S's or one S. Strings and Bling,
yeah.
Concert at Zone 6, and that launched his tour that he then did. And to see me play that small role in the kid's career now, where he's literally taking the fuck, like, I mean, he was already hot, but that allowed, you know, because we put proper production, and it allowed him to know what he can do live-wise. And then after that, we're like, okay, now we need to really send a message to the game. And my sending a message to the game was like, so, okay, who can we partner with to do something that's really gonna send, you know, Zone 6 is cool, but people keep talking about this venue called the Dome that everyone is scared of. You know, they want to fill it, they want to do this to it, and I was like, I just want to fucking sell it out. You know, I don't want to give a free ticket away. I want to sell, and I want to price it a premium thing. So the only way to do it, I went to Coffee. Coffee, can we do this thing? We did it, and literally we sold every seat out. And that was dope.
Incredible. That's incredible. So I guess you'll never leave music, right? So you're in a record company now, but you're still obviously working with music. And I think to Hugh's point, how can artists that aren't already on the Universal roster work with you?
Well, I mean, I think, so I was doing ULive. So as of yesterday, I'm still with ULive, but I'm now also taking over the record division, so it's coming through me. So if you know, so it's I oversee the record division for Universal.
What does that mean for people?
What does that mean?
Don't...
Okay, so we have different divisions within the business, right? So we got ULive, which is a concerting thing. We got Brands, which is a division that connects artists with brands and create opportunities. We have a booking agency called UMG Live. We have the digital division, and we have the actual record, like what traditionally would have been the record company alone, where you sign, develop that part, because, yeah, so, you know, so from...
So now you're running that. So send all your demos.
Not to me. There are people that would do that. Unfortunately, I no longer have the time to sit and listen through to demos, and I would love to. I try to be on SoundCloud when I can, when I'm driving around, and now I listen to a lot of audio books, and a lot of music comes out every Friday locally on the continent, and this and then. So I don't listen to it because when you listen to demo, it's different from when you listen to a release product, because a demo needs a special type of attention. You gotta listen through beyond the not so good mix. You gotta listen to the not so good beat, because you listen to everything. You separate. Sometimes you gotta separate. I don't listen to a complete song. I'm not expecting a complete hit when I listen to them. So I separate that thing. I'm like, okay, sometimes you find that the beat maker is actually hot, but the talent, the guy rapping is not good, or the guy singing. So I try to listen to each element on his own. And then like, okay, maybe the beat is kind of crap, but this guy's kind of nice. Then you sort of listen to how he makes his choruses, his chorus structure, his bridge. So you're like, okay, then you listen to, so it takes more time, that's what I mean. So whereas if I'm listening to a release product, it's already, I can just judge it off this is garbage, because I don't need to break it down. When I'm listening to a demo, it's like, I could literally listen to, if you got that's why I always tell people, just give me your 3 ones that you think are hot. And those 3 joints are going to take me a week of back-to-back listening and just breaking it down. And then, like, okay, cool. Then when I make that call, so, like, unfortunately now, I don't have all the time. You know what I mean? I do have a management company. I no longer run it. I still own it, but because of conflict of interest, someone else runs it for me. So if you guys know a guy called Cash, he managed Kid X. So he's the guy, big guy with tattoos, light-skinned. He takes over the managing artist of, and then a guy called Songi runs the business for me, because I can no longer actively until I leave the space I'm at. So that, I guess I train Cash well. I would like to believe that he would be able to do, things better than I did. He's younger, he's smart as shit. This guy his degree is in microbiology. And then he decided when he got into music that he wanted to do land marketing. Then he decided to enroll in a marketing degree, and he finished it in record time. So I trust he's smart, but I also know that he loves the culture. He got his hands dirty with Kid X and Cashtime Fam, and he's one of the most humble dudes I know. So I hope that he can do shit better. Yeah, so maybe Cash will be the guy you need to speak to, or guys at Universal. I don't know what level you're coming at, you know what I mean? But, yeah, we're open for business. We are looking for some dope shit. Either way, yeah.
So, Thabiso, I think you've dropped quite a few gems today, and I think we're going to stop it here. open for questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, can we make them brief questions? You know, guys, when I say we're starting at 2, I would like to start at 2. So please arrive on time when you come to imbali, please.
With your new role at Live, and we are seeing an influx of live music venues closing down in Cape Town. Joburg is now like right behind that, you know. So we having to have shows only on weekends, you know, on like either Friday and Saturday. Like for today, there's like 2 big events in the city in Joburg. And we're not, like we have 7 days, we're not utilizing the rest of the days. Sunday in particular, you know, where we have Global Citizen concert, which was on a Sunday, and had Beyonce and Jay-Z were not there, like these people wouldn't even bother to come to that gig on a Sunday, you know, where we as musicians, we try to pull these shows and, you know, it's not really working out in that way because so with your role, how do we, like, you know, bridge that gap of, like, even if we push, like, the Orbit tried, you know, they were off on Monday and have a gig every day of the week, which was brilliant for live music. How can we bridge that gap so that we can really open up this industry? Because whatever entities that are available are closed as well. You know, you need to be making a certain type of music or be within this crew, you know.
Okay. So, I mean, this is in Bali, right? Can I get my flowers quickly?
You can definitely get your flowers. This is why we are here.
This guy spoke about Global Citizen. I just need to get my flowers. I was actually a senior producer on Global Citizen. So I just had to get my flowers. It's important, right? So anyway, look, man, we are going through a tough time economically. We are going through. So you have to understand that everything connects. You know, venues have to pay rent. You know, and at the end of the day, it's business. So the Orbit is closing not because they don't want to do music, but because people are coming in there, they are losing money, and at the end of the day, they still have a landlord that is knocking on their door to say, we need our rent. And the landlord is not a guy for music. So because in that, we need to fix, and this is where we get involved beyond just music. And this is where we become responsible. This is where we become citizens that really care about the land. And that means that we need to get ourselves, you know, come May or whenever those elections are, we cross the right people that we want to cross, and we get active so that we can get the people that want to improve the economy in there, so we can then, once the economy grow, and young people can be entrepreneurial and should be entrepreneurial, so we can create those new jobs so that people can then have a discretionary or extra money to be able to go from Monday to Sunday to venues, because getting into a venue, it costs, right? People don't have money for bread. People don't have, so I mean, those things, and I mean, as much as we love this thing, and for us it makes us money, and it makes us happy, and it makes us this, and it makes us content, the fans and the people that are out there don't have, you know, we need to fix that first, so I don't think, and you know, and I'm curious about this. I just only got put on this open industry thing this week, so because literally starting, I never made New Year's resolution because I think they're pointless, but I made one particular resolution. And the particular resolution was, I'm going to stop listening to 702, right? Because it made me angry for the longest time. So I'm saying this to answer your question, to say I've been off the radar a bit, because every time I listen to news and stuff, it just got me pissed off because everything was so wrong and everyone is complaining and so I decided to tune off. So that's how I missed the open industry conversation. But now that you just kind of spoke about that, and I want to touch on that as well. So, you know, I just feel like, man, I just told you my story, be like, nobody ever opened these doors for me. Nobody ever, I don't know who's locking the industry. You know what I mean? Like, people say this, like, open, like, who? I'm definitely not. Do you know what I mean? So, and I know people that I work with are not. So sometimes people have this thing that shit has to take 3 years for it to come a reality, 5 years, 2 months. My shit took 20 years. You know what I mean? And then it's like you just have to pursue. And then I feel like there's this thing that oh, like we just started, we've been knocking, auditioning, we haven't gotten a role, the industry's closed. Fuck that, the industry's closed for nobody. You keep at it, you just have an expectation that it's supposed to happen in 6 months, in 5 years. Who said that? You know, and it frustrates me a bit because it then, there's this entitlement to say, if it doesn't happen, why do you think in my busy ass schedule, I have a day where I'm sitting and I'm saying, how are we gonna frustrate the youth? We have to shut the doors. You really think we do that? No, we don't. You know what I mean? What we do is we challenges happen, we try to give as many people an opportunity, but the economy caught up with us, the digital thing caught up with the music industry. We used to have so many majors, now we only have 3 left. Right, so Universal, we are the biggest, then there's Sony #2, then there's Warner. All the other guys, you know, because money, people are reducing staff. Times are tougher, but if the times gets better, we will then be able to have more cash outlays. So the projects we believe in, we will put a lot of dough, because I know if I'm putting 8 million rands on a Black Coffee concert, I can make that 8 million rands back with something extra. Because we do this thing for money as well. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, the shareholders and the whoever's, and that is why you're doing it. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. So for me, I think you just gotta keep at it and think about it, man. I came through hip hop when no one was trying to even listen to it. There was 500 of us that used to gather at the club. That was it. You know, and radio wasn't playing it. And everybody kept saying to me, why don't you manage Kwaito artists? You know, and I was like, but I don't want to manage Kwaito artists. But I want to see this thing that I love grow. And it took a while for Squatter to eventually come through and say thank you, for Pro to come through and we say thank you, for then Tear Gas, Josie. You know what I mean? But when you think about 94 to when Squatter came, 2003, that's almost a 10-year journey, bro. You know, and that for me is like, we stood the test of time. Not just me and other guys that are there in the game today, but I find guys that have been doing this for 2 years, because now you're getting frustrated. You know, you just gotta keep doing it and you will get there. That's all I can say.
Just keep at it. So you've been mentioning that you want to get your flowers,
Yeah.
So we're about to literally give you your flowers.
Thank you.
So I think for me, when I think about you and your story, the word that always comes up is courage, right? Because you have this courage to stand by yourself if you have to. Yeah. And even now you're explaining how you have the courage to fix your flaws.
Yeah.
The things that you feel were wrong about you. And I commend you for that. And we are trying to give you your flowers now, not while you're 6 feet under. And we hope that you feel the love from all of us.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And I'm of the absolute belief, and and this is what drives me, and I know that we sort of done, but I gotta share this. My whole drive in life is to drop my surname, and I'll explain. My name is Thabiso Khati, and I mean, that's why even on social media, I went to with Thabiso, no longer hip-hop scholar, because my whole journey in life is I want to get to a point where anybody in the world, when you mention the name Thabiso, they know exactly which Thabiso you're talking about. I just so that it's clear, you don't have to add Khati, so that people there's no confusion. So this is literally what drives me to say one day, I want to get to a point where there's only really one Thabiso that matter. So if you're a Thabiso and you're in the room, I'm going to give you a run for your money, because I just want to be the last one standing.
All right, so thank you very much, Thabiso, for coming to speak to us today. Thank you all for actually coming through. It is wonderful to see all of you at this first Imbali of the year. But please do make it on time next month. It will be on the 2nd of March, and we will start on time and make sure everybody gets what they need. Thank you to Zola for project managing, and the rest of the Hive team, and the sound guys, and the mixologists, and the door, and everybody who makes sure that Imbali is as dope as it is. I'm gonna catch you on the 2nd of March, but the hashtags and the handles and all of that are on the board if you want to tell your friends about us. We will catch you in March.
Phakathi kwezola bhadi ngcwala isitradi double booking bangasazibuza ngathi Bitches tryna share my rang, not so less of Khati. Yeah, they be wanting my swaggy. They die and they wish they get